In this video, I'd like to rig this model. I think it's about ready. But before I do, there are a couple things that I have been kind of working on, just kind of cleaning up some of the topology here. It still doesn't look perfect. If this was perfect, there would be edge loops around this beak going down to the head. We have some of these triangles here. It just would be a little bit cleaner, but I think it's not going to overall affect the deformation of my model. So I'm going to leave it. The other thing I'd want to do is right now this beak is closed. I might want to do one more operation on it. And again, while I was cleaning up this model, I was using multi-cut target weld tool, and I was also using transform constraints, symmetry, and also the surface slide, so I don't deform the shape of the model, but just move the vertices around. And this is something that I really want to do before I paint, because once I start to mess with some of the faces, I start to also mess with the UVs and the placement of the UVs. So we really want to first make sure our topology is completely set, and before we start to texture our model, add UVs and texture it. So this is pretty much ready to go. What I did is make sure that I have I can move vertices around a little bit, but then I start to really alter the way that these. Let's go back to our UV editor here, the flow of these UVs and where they're located. Right now, with this texture that we've applied, we've painted onto a 2D surface the texture information, and this is the way the bird is laid out. Now, if I start to add other faces or move things around, I might be changing, especially like, let's say right here, where I'm working, in the exact vicinity of where I was trying to work. These UVs are split here. And so I was starting to get some of this brown information, this brown background color, and it was losing some of the red. Okay, so we just, again, good practice, get your whole model completely modeled before you start to paint. But what I'd like to quickly do is I'm going to select these edges here. And right now, these edges are connected to each other. Don't really want to do that too much, but just to show you, what I'd like to do is actually duplicate those edges and detach them from each other so these faces are not connected. And I can do that with edit mesh and detach. So there's some other tools here for modeling. Another really important one would be delete edge vertex, where you might find an edge here that you want to delete. I would not just go ahead and select it and hit delete. It might have some vertices associated with it. And if you do that, then you're also deleting those vertices. What you want to do is use this tool here, delete edge vertex. So select the edge and then select this tool, delete edge vertex. And that would make sure we're not leaving behind any like random vertices or points that have no edges connected to them. Now you have to clean that part up of your model as well. Okay, so again, we have these edges selected, edit mesh, detach, and you see now that the shader attached to this kind of changed a bit. And so now if I select the faces along here, this bottom beak, they're detached, and now I would be able to, and what I might want to do is, yeah, I'll show you how to get this so that we're able to kind of open this a bit, maybe open this correctly. We'll want to have a kind of pivot point and be able to then rotate around that pivot point. Then we might want to move that pivot point a little bit farther back. I'm going to hit D to move the pivot, hit D again, hit rotate, and now I can make the bird, now I can animate that bird chirping if I'd like. So I might leave its beak open a little bit like that. Okay,